Hi everybody, Dave here from Amore Style Tarot. Today I want to talk about the Lemniscate. I probably butchered that on the tarot cards, but it's known as the infinity symbol. The infinity symbol, you can search for it online. You can look for meanings of the infinity symbol or the meaning of the Lemniscate, and you'll find a bunch of different interpretations. But I wanted to share with you my interpretation of this particular symbol. So when I think about the infinity symbol, I think about something that is in the realm of the mind. So if you just looking at the basic concept of it all, one of the ways that I like to think about this is, so if you want to count numbers and you're competing with somebody to get to the highest number, anytime the other person says a number, you just add 1 to it and you get the next greatest number. And this goes on forever. You can work your way through this. Eventually, the game kind of comes to a stalemate, knowing that it's just a matter of how much time you put into it. Time will get you farther into it, but you can still never get to the end because the concept is infinite. So here, that the idea is, if you were to take a snapshot of everything around you, if you were at this moment of time, you freeze this moment of time and you count up everything that of whatever things you want to count up, you'll find that there's a finite number of them. You have done this many of that. You own this count of something, okay, or there exists a particular count of something. So the concept of finite is in the now moment, but in the mind, in that now moment, you can always think of something greater than what is in the snapshot of the now. So in the mind space, you can go into things that are infinite. You can conceptualize about it. You can logically deduce that there's never a finite number of something. You can see that there's infinity in whatever you're conceptualizing about. So why is this important? The concept of infinity is in the mind space. The activity that happens in the physical space is a little bit more finite. It is something that's tangible, something that can be counted, weighed, measured. So when we come around to it and we look at the first place where the Lemniscate shows up, it's with the Magician card. In the Magician card, if you look closely at it, you're going to find that this particular card, if you understand the concept behind this card, is the messenger. The messenger is here to tell you that in order to play this game of life, you have to imagine something, you have to think of something, you have to state your desires, you have to, in that conceptual space, you have to conceive of the idea. It's a logical idea, and there's an infinite number of them. You can conceive anything you want to conceive. And then when you do, then the magician points downward at all the different aspects of life, whether it's the coins or whether it's the flames or whatever it is, cups, you will manifest in that area. So your desire, your thoughts are in one space, and then your earthly experiences is in the suits. It's in what happens in life. And so here we're shown that there's infinite possibilities of what you want to manifest. There's infinite aspects to that. And with the magician, it is about starting your journey. You can't make forward progress until you actually show that you want to do something, you want to manifest something. So then when we have that card, we look at it and say, the Lemniscate is showing us that there's infinite possibilities. So, and it's in the mind space. See the next occurrence, we look at it and see, oh, this also shows up on the Strength card. The Strength card is the first of the 6 moral ethical cards. The Strength card is about doing no harm. It's about controlling the thoughts in your mind in order to not manifest the negative response out in the physical world. This card is about silencing those thoughts in the head that are out of control, that can actually bring harm to you and your experience. It takes you out of focus. You want to be able to bring this focus around. So the Strength card is there to show us that in one of the fundamental principles that we want to be able to accomplish is we need to be able to silence or control or have a focus on those thoughts that are in the head. This card would go right back to the yoga principles of Panology. Butcher another one. That particular, one of the first principles there, the second article, is that you want to be able to control the fluctuations of the mind, the aspects of the mind that are out of control. You need to be able to focus, keep your thoughts pure and straight, and the Strength card is here to show us that this particular card is about that. We need to be able to focus our thoughts, to be able to make forward progress, to keep our aim towards our desires, to be aware that when your thoughts are random, you affect the people around you. You affect the manifestation of everything that happens in your environment. So here we have two instances. With the Magician, we see that in that card, it's about infinite possibilities of mind that you manifest. Here, in the Strength card, it's about the infinite possibilities that are being manifested that you're just not aware of. Okay, so you want to be able to rein that in a little bit and take control of that. When we look a little bit farther, we can look into the cards and we see there's one card, which is the Two of Coins, the Two of Pentacles. The Two card is typically showing that we have somebody here that's juggling something, or they're kind of in the shape of a balance. They're holding two things. But this card is really about juggling. It's about switching back and forth between these items. It's about putting something out and then putting a little bit of energy into it. So if you're a juggler, there's this little bit of time that you are in contact with the balls that you're juggling, and you throw it up in the air, it goes through its cycle, comes back down, you give it attention again, and you throw it in the air again. And so you have this aspect of what you're doing is constantly in motion. What you're doing is you're counting to infinity. You're constantly doing the action. You're throwing the ball in the air again. You're doing that repetition. You're actively working towards that conceptual idea, which is out there at infinity. But the Two shows that your thoughts are out of balance. They're not in the mind space anymore. They're manifesting. You're doing it with the action of whatever you're doing, whatever you're juggling, whatever you're putting your attention into, but you're actively manipulating that situation. So these concepts of what it is that's in the infinite within the mind space is actually playing out. So where do we find the Lemniscate? It's no longer on the mind. It's no longer above the head, but it's come down to the body. It's come down to the hands. It's come down to what is tangible in our space. So it's showing up as being something that's being manifested. And so it's being played out. You're in the act of counting. You're in the act of putting your energy into all these different infinite spots. And it shows with the Two of Coins that you're fractured. Your energy is fractured a little bit. That same concept, we take it a little bit farther into the world. So on some decks you don't find the Lemniscate on the world. On my deck you will find it there. That world card is on the opposite side of the major arcana from the Magician. So the Fool makes the journey, but the Magician is where the journey starts. The world is where you have an understanding of what that journey is. So there's an infinite number of possibilities that you might be going through at one time. The world shows that when you get to that particular card, you now have conscious understanding of what it is that you did. You practiced it. The Lemniscate in that card shows that you have conscious control over what's going on. So rather than being positioned again at the mind space as being an idea, the Lemniscate comes down to, again, to the hands, to the body, to what is tangible, just like in the Two of Coins. So here we have a card that shows that your mastery is a cycle where you can, again, bring this back into manifestation. You can consciously choose to do that again, but you can do it in a different flavor. You can do it in a different way. You can do it with a different color. You can do it with a different word. But again, it is showing that the concept of whatever it is that you manifest, you can do in a different way. You can play the song in a jazz style. You can play the song in a rock style. You can play the song in whatever style you want to play it because you have mastered that song. The World card shows you that you have. The World card shows the elements of the suits. So when you look at that and compare it against the Magician, you find that both of them have the suits on the card that you get to make choices. That here it is with the world is showing you that it's come full cycle, that you're in that cycle. You've come back to the center of infinity, which shows that you can go through this again. You just choose, you start the path and you go down that path again. But I found it interesting with these 4 particular cards that they all had this. And when I looked through the entire deck, don't really find places where this understanding of infinity and your ability to make choices, the choices are infinite, and how they manifest is in the cycle of actually doing something. And so the action of juggling, or the access of being in mastery of manifesting something which is of your understanding. The rest of the cards don't seem to have anything that plays out with this. And so anyway, I wanted to share that with you so that you may be able to enhance your readings or your understanding when you draw any one of these particular cards.